Hello everyone and welcome back to another one of my videos. If you are subscribed to my channel then you'll know that I've been putting out quite a lot of content recently, and that is because I was unfortunately made redundant at the start of October. I was informed about the redundancy I think it was the end of September, which is near my birthday, and I'd literally planned to go to Paris for my 30th, and yeah, I got told a little bit before that. But I was kind of thankful because it gave me kind of extra time to plan what I wanted to do. But yeah, I'd never been made redundant before, so I didn't really know what to expect. Thankfully, I've been offered a job now and I start next week, but I just wanted to make this video for all those people out there that might be in the same situation, and the steps that I've taken I believe have really helped me in getting a job, so I just wanted to put this out there and yeah, hopefully it will help someone else. Now, the steps that I did take, I don't think I took them in necessarily the right order, so I'm going to run through how I went about everything, and then afterwards I'll say how you probably should go about doing everything. So the first thing I did was apply for new jobs as soon as I was told the news. So I applied for a few jobs and I actually got an interview at a solicitor's firm before I'd actually finished at my old place, which was like a beacon of hope. I went into the interview feeling really confident. They really liked the way that I came across and I was called back for a second interview. But this is where it went downhill. So the job that I'd applied for was a digital executive role, and I'd spent ages putting together this marketing plan on clinical negligence, and I did some social media posts for them as well, which is just what they were looking for. They were really impressed with what I did. But they asked me competency-based questions, which, working at like 3 small family businesses in my career, I'd literally never come across before. If you're watching this video thinking I have no idea what a competency-based question is, then I'm pretty sure you're not alone. Competency-based question is something that apparently around a third to a half of all employers use when interviewing candidates, and they require you to think of examples from your career that you can use as answers, basically. For example, one might be like, tell me about a change that you had to deal with when you were in the workplace. And most of the time, to answer these competency-based questions, you need to follow something called a STAR format. So the S stands for situation, the T stands for task, the A stands for action, and the R stands for result. And you're meant to answer kind of all the questions with that format. So I've just googled an answer to this question and I'll pop that on the screen now so you can have a read. But yeah, there's loads of other ones that they can ask you, and it's probably impossible to think of an answer for all of them in your preparation, but that is the next step that I would definitely recommend. It's kind of pulling out common ones that they might ask you and then going through your career basically and just thinking back to examples and situations that you might be able to use to answer the questions. So unfortunately I didn't get that job, but looking back I can totally see why I didn't get it. I was underprepared 100% with the competency-based questions. I'd literally never come across them before, so any one that she asked me I was just like making something up from the top of my head, which she could definitely tell. So I felt quite down after I found out about the news because the current economic climate is not great and I have rent to pay and bills to pay, and I was quite stressed. And it also got to the point where I was like, how else can I make money when I don't have a job? So I googled it, and there's like a few apps that you can download and make money from those, and surveys and stuff like that. One of the apps I downloaded was called Just Play, and it was lucrative to begin with. Well, I say lucrative, I earned like 69p in a day, I think it was, which isn't great, but at that point I was like, I'll take anything I can get. So yeah, I managed to draw out 69p to my PayPal account, but then when I wanted to earn more money, I tried, but it kept only giving me like 1p every time. I'd spent ages playing these games, so yeah, it doesn't last very long. And then I think in the end I had to draw out the money via Amazon vouchers, so I think I ended up in total making about £1.69 from Just Play, so wouldn't really recommend that one. There's also a website called cashback.co.uk, I think it was, which I looked into, and you have to complete like 15 different stages. Some of them are easier to do than others. I'm still only on like stage 5 and I've had it for over a month. It's just like signing up to different websites. So like one was My Family Heritage, and you have to stay signed up for 2 weeks and then you have to cancel it, otherwise you get charged. So if you're organised, then you could probably make it work. But yeah, some take like 2 weeks to verify as well, so it's not a quick earner by any means. The best one I did find was probably branded surveys, and I've actually managed to make about £14 from that. I know, again, it's not a lot, but it's still something. And you do need to give like truthful answers, otherwise your quality score isn't great and you don't get any surveys. And it is a bit difficult as well, because sometimes they can say, oh, there's a survey, and then you start entering your details and stuff, and then it kicks you out because there's too many people doing it or something. So you do have to be patient, but if you are patient, then you can earn a little bit from that. So I would recommend that one. To help my mental health, I made sure that I still met up with friends, still went to the gym, and went on like daily walks and stuff as well. It really helped to get out of the house and get some fresh air. I'm extremely fortunate to have really supportive parents as well. I gave them a call after I'd heard the news about the solicitor's place, and they just really picked me up from the rut that I was in. They were saying stuff like, you know, you can't carry on with this attitude because you're not going to get anywhere type thing. They didn't say it quite as harshly, but you know what I mean. I couldn't carry on with such a downbeat attitude because they were right, I wasn't going to move forward and get a new role. So this was the point as well where my other half, he asked around at his company. They have a marketing department there, and the lady said there was a role available, but she just said she really wanted to help me anyway. So I had like a video call with her, and she gave me so much CV advice and help with competency-based questions and stuff as well, so I'm really thankful to her. Now, before speaking to her, I was totally unaware how bad my CV actually was. Like, I'd updated it, but I'd just basically written a load of bullet points. So, for example, in like my responsibilities, I just put like edited videos, edited photos, and I mean, as a potential employer, looking at that, you're not going to know exactly what I've done. It doesn't go into any detail whatsoever, so she helped me realise that maybe with a bit more detail people can see what I've actually done, and also write down my achievements as well, because I hadn't written my achievements on there. So yeah, that was my next piece of advice. Either rewrite your CV if necessary, or kind of get someone else to check over it and see what they think. Which, looking back, I wish I'd have done that first, to be honest. Speaking to her, she also gave me a few recruiters to reach out to, so that was really helpful. I hadn't considered doing that. So definitely reach out to recruiters, get yourself on their radar, and I'm pretty sure they have jobs that aren't available on Indeed and stuff, so it can be quite surprising when they call you and say, oh, I've got a role that you might be interested in, and you've not even come across it yourself because it's not on any of the job sites and stuff, so I'd recommend doing that as well. So after getting in touch with a few recruiters, I managed to secure 3 interviews with my new CV as well, so that was great. Even though I did secure 3 interviews, I was still quite up and down, like I wasn't sleeping properly. You could definitely tell it was impacting me. One of the worst interviews that I actually had was for Aldi. It was a marketing and communications assistant, I think. This was when I'd been looking into competency-based questions, but I hadn't kind of covered all bases yet, and it was the most ridiculous interview ever. It was a video one, and there was 9 questions, and they gave you like 20 seconds to read the question and think of an answer, and you couldn't re-record your answers. So being an introvert, this was like my absolute worst nightmare, because I often take about half an hour to think about what I'm going to say. So it was terrible, and I'm not surprised I didn't get that job. But yeah, I'm going to put an example on the screen just to show you, because I took some pictures, just to show you one of the questions, and hopefully you feel my pain. So yeah, I don't know how anyone could pass that Aldi interview, but if you're watching this and you have passed it, then congratulations, I am very envious of your brain. Something I have noticed as well is that most of the first interviews I've had have all been video interviews, which I kind of like, to be honest, because you don't have to leave the house, you can save petrol and save time, and you can also have like notes in front of you and you can just kind of sneakily read them if you need them. Again, helps out the introverts out there. So yeah, that's a good thing, I think. And also doing more and more of those, I was able to build my confidence as well. So the next thing I would definitely recommend is spending 9 to 5 Monday to Friday looking for jobs and doing projects if necessary. I actually felt really guilty when I wasn't doing this. Like if I was having my lunch or whatever, I'd just be like, I need to be searching for a job, because the longer that I don't, the longer that I'm not going to have an income, and it's going to really impact me. So I definitely recommend spending 9 to 5 Monday to Friday searching for a job, doing projects, things like that. Another horror story about one of my interviews. So I'd spent 3 days doing a 2-week social media plan, and I actually spent a Sunday doing this as well, because I think my interview was on the Tuesday and I knew it was going to take me a while, so I was like, right, I'll do it on Sunday. And I'd only found out, I think it was on the Friday, and I'd had other interviews as well, so I'd been quite busy, so I had to work for about 12 hours, I think it was, on it on a Sunday. And I did it all, and on Monday I sent it over to the recruiter and I was like, have a look at the project, let me know what you think. And he said, I've just had a call from them and they are not actually recruiting for the position anymore, so don't bother coming to the interview because they've hired someone internally. So that's 3 days of my life that I will literally never get back. So thanks to that company for wasting my time. But these things happen, and it's all part of the learning process, I guess. So whilst job hunting, I actually found a statistic which I thought was quite interesting. Apparently you have to have, on average, about 7 interviews before you actually secure a job. And that actually makes a lot of sense, because once I'd written down those competency-based question examples and rewritten my CV, contacted recruiters, I was getting more and more interviews, and that just meant more and more practice. And you'll often find that similar questions come up in the interviews and stuff starts going into your long-term memory. So by the last interview, most of my competency-based questions were in my brain, so I was just ready to go. Any competency-based question, I was like, got an answer for that, because I'd obviously rehearsed and practiced, and yeah, it definitely makes sense why the 7th interview is the one that you potentially get. You come across more confident to employers as well, which is something that I think that employers look for. I also saw something online that said, if you don't get a job, it's not the end of the world, you just weren't the right fit. And that also makes a lot of sense to me now as well. Like, don't take it to heart, there might just be someone else that's a better fit for that company, but you will find the company that you are a good fit for. And the last thing that I probably should have mentioned first is apply for job seekers allowance or universal credit as soon as you're eligible for it. So I think I applied for mine on the first Monday that I was classed as unemployed, and it took them a week to process it, and then I think it took me another week to get paid. So the sooner that you apply for it, the sooner you'll get paid, basically. But they do backdate it, I think. So yeah, that's how I went about everything. I hope it made sense, and I think in terms of how I would approach everything, I would rewrite my CV or get someone else to look over it for me and just see if there's any improvements that I could make. I'd reach out to recruiters as well. Then I would start applying for jobs, although I guess it wouldn't hurt to maybe apply for a few as soon as you're told the news as well. I would then research common competency-based questions and think back about your career and find suitable examples for the questions. I'd then apply for job seekers allowance or universal credit as soon as you're eligible, and then finally spend Monday to Friday 9 to 5 prepping and researching and finding jobs. There's quite a lot of useful information online, especially YouTube. There's a lot of videos out there like career vids. I used him quite a lot. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. If you've got any questions, please leave them below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!